So, what happens when one of the most famous people on the planet reveals a potentially life-threatening health condition in a reality show teaser? Well, today we're breaking down Kim Kardashian's stunning brain aneurysm revelation. And believe me, this story is about so much more than just a medical diagnosis. It's a really fascinating look at the very real, physical price of emotional stress. Okay, let's dive right into how this all came out, because this wasn't some stuffy press release or a quiet, carefully worded statement. Nope. The reveal itself was pure reality TV genius, dropped in a way that was guaranteed to get everyone's attention. And there it is. There's like a little aneurysm. Just dropped into the conversation. The way she says it so casually is honestly what makes it so jarring. For the millions of people watching, that one sentence just completely changed the game, turning a reality show into something way, way more serious. And you gotta think about the setting here. This wasn't some serious sit-down interview. It was a teaser clip, strategically placed to promote the new season of her family's show. When you drop a bombshell like that in a preview, you're pretty much guaranteeing that your health is going to be a major plot point for the whole season. I mean, the scene itself is just reality TV gold. You've got this stark, almost scary clinical image of a brain scan, and then it immediately cuts to her sister Courtney's raw gut reaction, whoa. And that one word, that's basically all of us watching from our couches. It's the collective gasp of everyone at home. But here's what's so interesting. The story immediately pivoted from what was happening to why it was happening. The show didn't leave anyone hanging. It gave us an explanation right away. And the reason they gave? It's just stress. 2 little words. And this, right here, is where the story gets really compelling. By linking a serious neurological issue directly to an emotional state, it takes this complex medical problem and makes it feel intensely personal and honestly, pretty relatable. And they didn't leave the source of that stress a mystery either. She pointed the finger directly at her incredibly public divorce, framing the whole narrative around the immense pressure she felt trying to shield her kids from all the public drama. And get this, it wasn't just the aneurysm scare. In the very same conversation, she mentioned a psoriasis flare-up, a condition she said had been dormant for years. And the cause? Yep, the exact same thing, the emotional toll of the divorce. And this quote, wow, it just paints such a vivid picture of the emotional weight she was carrying. I mean, using a term like Stockholm Syndrome is incredibly heavy. It speaks to this really complex dynamic where she felt like she had to defend and protect her ex, even while the situation was clearly causing her so much personal harm. So when you hear a doctor on TV say a brain aneurysm is from just stress, it kind of makes you pause, right? It makes you wonder, what's the actual science here? Can emotional turmoil really cause something so physically dangerous? Let's get into the facts. All right, so it's time to separate the reality show drama from the medical reality. What exactly is a brain aneurysm? Okay, so according to places like the Mayo Clinic, picture a weak spot on a blood vessel in the brain that starts to bulge out, almost like a tiny bubble. Now, here's the key. Most of these are totally harmless. The real danger, the part that's life-threatening, is if that little bubble bursts. That can cause a really devastating kind of stroke. And here's a statistic that might actually shock you. It's estimated that 1 in every 50 people in the US is walking around with an unruptured brain aneurysm right now. That's nearly 7 million people. It is way, way more common than most of us realize. So who's most at risk? Well, doctors point to a few key things. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is a big one, so is having a family history of them. Turns out women are also at a higher risk than men, especially between 30 and 60 years old. And here's the kicker, just like in Kim's story, the vast majority of these are found completely by accident during scans for something totally different. So let's circle back to our big question. Does stress cause an aneurysm? Well, medical experts say no, not directly. It's not like A leads to B. But, and this is a really big but, chronic stress is proven to raise your blood pressure. And since high blood pressure is a top risk factor for aneurysms and strokes, you can see the connection. Stress basically creates the perfect storm in your body for these kinds of events to become more likely. So, if you strip away all the reality TV editing and the tabloid headlines, why does the story actually matter? What's the real takeaway here? The power of her platform is just
undeniable. I mean, honestly, before this, how many of us were talking about brain aneurysms? But when Kim Kardashian says the word, it instantly pushes a serious health issue into pop culture, probably prompting millions of people to Google the symptoms or maybe even talk to their doctor. That's real impact.
And, it also just pulls back the curtain on the person behind the brand. We're so used to seeing this perfectly polished, controlled image. But a health scare like this completely shatters that illusion. It reminds us that behind the billion-dollar empire is a human being, facing the same fears as anyone else. And that vulnerability is incredibly powerful. Ultimately, this whole story shows that vulnerability can be a celebrity's most powerful asset. Not just to create drama, but to spark a real conversation. And that kind of leaves us with a final question to think about. In our super curated, filtered world, is there anything more impactful than a moment of unfiltered human weakness?